Another dismal distinction for the Sunshine State. 8 of the most expensive rental markets in the country are right here in Florida.
Florida saw a 29% increase in rent since the beginning of the year. That is the highest in the country.
He believes rental prices will no longer go back to what they were pre-pandemic.
My lease and my rent increased by 77%. This may be the last year that I live in Orange County, a place where we've created so many memories, because we can no longer afford to live here.
It's a basic human right, but the cost of housing is becoming unbearable for communities in Florida facing massive rent increases.
My rent went up 50% with no increase in services and no improvements to my apartment or the surrounding area.
I have, friends who have had their rent doubled.
The rent increase was hard because I was really fighting to maintain what I was paying already. I've done things even like giving plasma just to have some money.
How is somebody who's working at Wawa or 7-Eleven going to pay a 50% increase in rent? Are you people nuts?
People are becoming homeless. They don't know where they're going to live next. They're getting priced out of their homes.
State politicians have abandoned working families, leaving them to get price gouged by corporate landlords or forced out by eviction. So in places like Miami, Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Orange County, tenants and grassroots activists are rising up and fighting back.
We should care about whether or not anyone is choosing food over housing, or their doctor's appointments over housing, right? Or whether or not their kids get new shoes that don't have holes in them over housing. This is a human dignity issue.
Rents in Orange County, Florida, home to major tourist destination Orlando, are on average 30% higher than in 2021.
It was raising our rent by 40%, so $1,000 more for rent for a house in Thornton Park that has a slight mold issue with a leaking roof also out back with no washer and dryer working.
The rent increase has strained my finances. Can I afford it? Well, I'm gonna have to find a way to afford it. It is all about the money, but people need to live too. They don't need to be in the streets.
You can't just say landlords are bad people. No, we need to put an eye also on Mayor Demings and Buddy Dyer. They're allowing this to happen.
Orange County Commissioner Emily Bonilla is leading the fight to pass a 1-year rent stabilization ordinance to slow rent increases and protect residents from profiteering, eviction, and displacement.
The exact proposal for the county is a rent stabilization that will prevent any landlords from increasing the rents more than 5% or the consumer price index, whichever is lower.
But what it is first aid. And, if somebody comes into the emergency room and they're bleeding out, you don't wait for a full diagnosis to give them first aid. You give them first aid and make sure they don't die.
But there's one very big roadblock. Florida's preemption laws, which limit the power of local governments on key issues, make it extremely difficult to take county and city-level action on rent control. Even this simple 1-year stabilization has to be put on the ballot to be approved by Orange County voters. The real struggle, activists say, is overcoming the political power wielded by developers and corporate landlords.
These corporations are purchasing here. They have a lot of influence over local and state politicians because they have the money to go ahead and give donations.
Governor Ron DeSantis has raised millions from the real estate industry, one of his biggest donor groups. Over the past 20 years, the Republican-held legislature has shifted $2.3 billion from the Sadowski Affordable Housing Act Fund, a housing rental assistance program for low-income families, to their other legislative priorities. In April, they raided $100 million from the fund to reward luxury developers. Activists say it's just another anti-renter move.
If you don't desire to be a homeowner or owner class, right, a real classism issue, you don't deserve to live indoors. And that is not the kind of county that we deserve to live in.
Because people can live comfortably, but we can't live comfortably when all of our rights are being sold to the highest bidder.
Orange County activists are hoping to follow in the footsteps of organizers winning housing successes across the Sunshine State. In South Florida, the Miami Workers Center has been organizing to expand housing rights in a city run by developers.
Many Miamians, they're paying upwards of 80% of their salary on housing, and it shouldn't be that.
In May, activists in Miami secured a tenant bill of rights, approved unanimously by the Miami-Dade County Board of County Commissioners.
Oh, absolutely. Huge one was the Office of the Tenant Advocacy, now the Housing Advocacy Office that didn't exist
before we demanded it of the county's budget last year. And so that is an office that will help streamline where people can call to get resources around housing.
In Tampa and St. Petersburg, tenant unions have stopped evictions and won new rights and affordable housing funds.
When the people get together, the folks in power have got to move, and they got to move one way or the other. We'll move them out, or they'll move on our behalf.
Hoping to ride this wave of successes, residents in Orange County are asking commissioners and Mayor Jerry Demings to back a referendum on rent stabilization and to seek out even more solutions for the housing emergency facing residents.
Letting the voters decide and then having 1 year of rent control, that's all we are asking for. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing out of this world.
So rent stabilization is not a kill shot, it is not a magic pill, but it's part of the medicine that we need, and it is irresponsible to walk away from the thing they absolutely can do because they can't figure out all of it.
When you see what people are stealing from us, you also see the fire that ignites in people that are being stolen from. And there are tons of us, but when you realize that everything is being taken from you, you finally realize that it's time to shake the boat.